In this video, I'll show you how to group output from multiple BI reports into a single PDF or Excel file using InfoBurst's content grouping feature. Specifically, we'll be grouping files based on bursting variable, and I'll show you what that looks like in a moment. So content grouping in InfoBurst has one prerequisite, and that is the delivery template. You must create the delivery template before you create your burst. So I've created one here called PDF Network, and I'll show you what that does. This will look familiar to you. This looks like any delivery within a burst. Within the template, we're defining the destination. I've selected Network Share, but we could send this group content to any of our supported destinations. And I'm also doing a bit of customization. So I'm delivering to a share folder, and I'm using a macro here to create a subfolder with the name of our burst. And then I'm employing various macros to customize the name of the resulting grouped file. Now in my example, I have multiple BI reports for which I'm bursting by state, and I want to name those files with the state that they represent, and then I'm also including a formatted date stamp here at the end. I am going to be grouping to PDF, so I need to define the PDF format here in the template, but this could also be Excel. So we have our template, and let's build our burst. So we'll say new burst. We'll call this grouping by bursting variable. We call it grouping by variable. So we'll say add. And for this example, we'll keep it simple. We'll work with two different reports. Let's add a Web Intelligence report, performance by state. And I also have a Crystal report, which we will also burst by state. We'll add that to the burst as well. So two different reports of two different types we'll be grouping into a single PDF file based on the value for which we burst them. So let's configure each report and its parameter. So for the performance by state report, I have a parameter called enter values for state, and I'll just enter a few sample values here for demonstration purposes. So we'll say California and Florida. Be sure to hit apply here. We could use a data source, but for this example, we'll just enter some values. And then we'll use the same values for the Crystal report. We'll also add Florida. And apply. Now with content grouping, we don't configure report level deliveries. That's taken care of at the burst level when we define the content grouping. Let's open up burst properties where we configure content grouping. We select our content grouping tab. We select the format to which we'll group. I'm going to leave this on PDF. Our grouping by, we will select document variable. We then need to define the template to use, and that's the one I just showed you, this PDF network template. Now this field is key, grouping variable. We need to tell InfoBurst on what variable we would like to group the output from these reports. Now remember, I'm bursting each report on a parameter for state. If you noticed, each of those parameters has different names. So this is a problem for us here at the grouping, content grouping level. What I did ahead of time to solve that problem was create what we call a parameter alias in InfoBurst, and you can search for that details on parameter alias in the InfoSol help desk. And I created an alias, a simple alias called state, and linked them to both of those unique parameter names from our Webby and Crystal report. So here, instead of referencing any specific parameter name, I will just reference the alias, which is state. And we won't work with any of the other options here. So I will select save, and let's run our burst. So InfoBurst has bursted the Webby report for the two different values and generated the PDF files, and now it's doing the same for the Crystal report. Then when it comes time to group, InfoBurst will take that grouping variable name that you provided and look for common values and then group those files into a single PDF file for us. So this burst was completed successfully. Let's look at the output. So here's the resulting folder from our template, grouping by bursting variable. That was our burst name. And if we open that up, you can see the two reports that were generated, each named for the state value that they represent. So if we open this one, this is our grouped PDF for the California output from our Webby and Crystal reports. We have our table of contents here. This can be suppressed if you choose. And if we go into our bookmarks here at the top, we can browse to the Web Intelligence section of this grouped PDF, which is our Webby report. And we can actually browse between the various tabs within the report. So we have our Summary tab, our Detail tab, and our Margin tab. Then we can also browse to the Crystal report content, which also represents the state California. And we also got a grouped report for state Florida. So if we open that up, same thing. We have our Webby report content for Florida grouped together with our Crystal report content for Florida.